Welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast, dedicated to highlighting the good going on right here in Marionville, Missouri. On each episode, we love to highlight and share the stories of events of why we call Marionville a good place to live and also to work. Our team brings you updates from all different perspectives inside the town, including reports from local journalists, everyday citizens, city officials, school representatives, business owners, and nonprofits. Today's episode, we're going to continue our commitment to showcase the goodness going on here in Marionville, uniting our community through shared stories of hope and optimism.
You know, while mainstream media news often focuses on the negative, our town's potential and rich history deserves to be celebrated and shared. So hang out with us for a little while we cover some of the good this week.
All right, many of you might be on one of the Facebook pages for Marionville, and you might have seen some pictures about the city sewers being blown out. That's a great thing. We need our city sewers blown out, but you might want to if you see the sewer guys on your street, take some cellophane and cover the toilet so that when they blow it out, it doesn't blow out all over your...
I don't think it's a might. I think it's a very good idea. So, we got this report from Debbie Bateman at City Hall, and she said that since our last episode, Jim, the community has really been doing a great job at keeping the food bank well stocked, and people are actually using it. So she just wanted to encourage everybody to keep doing that because this is great news.
Canned food of all different types, meat and vegetables and any perishables you're willing to put in there, because people will come and get this stuff. There are people checking out the food shelf every day. We're across the street. We see people there all the time. All right, Martha, from the school.
Yeah, we've got some great updates. Summer school has started, and so the buses are running, so keep looking out for them. We heard from Greg Hopkins, who was on our last episode, so if you didn't get a chance to listen, go back and listen, learn a little bit more about the high school principal. But summer school week 1 is about complete, and he said at the high school level, there are 50 kids that are participating, and I know today was pool day for the elementary, so big day. Pray for all those teachers. The art teacher, Miss Cotton, Zoe Bishop, Jackie Glidewell, and Tristan George are painting and updating some murals at the high school. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that great addition. What else did he have to say, Jim?
The baseball team won districts and then fell to Galena in the state sectional game 4-0. Congratulations to Coach Hooper for a great season and the whole baseball team on a fantastic year. Thanks for all the excitement. So we thought today would be kind of fun to head out into the business community and do a special interview with Hillbilly Towing very own Joe Walker. Joe, welcome to the Good Place Marionville podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited. Nobody really wants to have to call the tow truck guy, but you guys have been, how long has Hillbilly Towing been around here in Marionville?
Nobody wants to call me, but they're glad when I show up.
That's right.
I have been out on my own for 18 years now. When I got out of the Navy in 87, my parents had a convenience store. We ran towing out of there since 87 with myself and my father. Then I left for about 11 years and got back into it when Dad wanted to get out of the towing business.
So your mom and dad owned the Hillbilly's gas station and the restaurant behind it.
Yes, it was all kind of one big deal.
We've heard rumors about how incredible the breakfasts and lunches were there and the dinners. I mean, just like...
We had very good home cooked meals. My mother's a pretty good cook, and we had a lunch special every day. And yes, we ate well.
Quite a legacy here in town. So what kind of things, let's talk about the towing side. What kinds of things are you out there towing?
Well, we have 6 tow trucks from anything from a motorcycle to a dump truck. We can tow heavy stuff, light stuff. We do a lot of motor club stuff. We do a lot of car dealership type stuff where we just pick up broken vehicles, take to the dealership. We also do highway patrol, city, county, state. We being in the corner of Lawrence County, we do Christian County, Stone County. We're just a few miles from each, and of course Lawrence County. A lot of stuff for the city of Aurora, a little bit for Marionville. Billings, just you name it, we tow it. We go as far as I had a guy in Sherman, Texas last week that we sent down there to pick up a customer we have in Aurora.
Sherman, Texas.
That's a long tow.
Wow, I can't imagine paying that tow bill.
I just
It was nice.
it was nice for you.
Let's pay the insurance this month.
You know, if anybody is ever curious about what it actually looks like for some of the things that you're towing, I would just encourage you to go check out their Facebook page, because you guys do a great job of giving us that perspective, because we're not out there where you guys are most of the time and doing the things that you're doing. And I love getting that little peek behind the curtain of, oh my goodness.
We just kind of throw the interesting stuff out there. That's one out of about 50 tows we do that actually make the Facebook page.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff out there, but we
like the boring, normal,
That's right,
safe,
that's
you
right.
know, somebody's tire or whatever kind of thing. But yes, there are some pretty crazy things you guys have to do.
That's right. Having lived in Florida for 20 years, we saw how tow truck drivers were not only heroes, but they were also like, I don't know. I don't even know how they did what they did, because they're always worried about getting hit by somebody, because there's nobody paying attention all the time down there. Those guys never got paid enough for what the jobs that they did. But towing really is pretty ministry-minded work. You're helping people in some of their most desperate times. I mean, their car's broken down. They're on a freeway. They're in a place that they don't want to be. How does it feel to be a hero all the time?
Well, we don't really consider ourselves heroes, but we do pick cars up sometimes, and people are sitting on the interstate, and the trucks driving by are shaking their cars, and they're kind of in a bit of a panic. And it's not so bad to be in the car as it is to be outside the car when you're loading them. So it's a dangerous place to work. They run over guys like me about once a week and kill them, unfortunately.
Across the country, that's the
it's about one every 7 days that they hit a tow truck driver who's just doing his job on the side of the road, and somebody's not paying attention on a cell phone or whatever the case may be, and they just lose control and wipe them out.
That is devastating. You know,
when you see those flashing lights, pull over to the left.
I just want to say a PSA, you know, everybody pay attention. We do not want to be a part of that statistic anywhere. And, you know, people are not looking for the opportunity to break down on the side of the road, but it happens. And we want to keep them as safe as possible. So pay attention to what you're doing when you're driving, and not anything else. So,
and it is the law. You are, for police, firemen, wreckers, you're supposed to slow down and move over, but that is a rare occurrence, unfortunately.
Yes. So I was curious about that, because in Missouri, like I, you know, we're still learning the state rules and stuff here, but just common sense, even, right? Get out of the way, give them their space. So let's talk about, you know, okay, you said there's a lot of regular tows that happen in between the stuff we see on Facebook, but just for the sake of entertainment here, tell us one of your craziest tow stories.
One of my craziest probably tow stories was I got a call on a Saturday night one night to go over by Granby, pick up a rental car and do a rental car swap, which we do that frequently. If your rental car breaks down or whatever, you go pick it up, take it to Springfield, get in a different one. So I go pick this car up. It's 7:00 at night on a Saturday night. A little old lady from New York. And the reason we're doing this swap is because her license plates on her rental car are expired.
Oh,
so it's an emergency. So I go pick the car up. Lady's very nice, kind of demanding, but she says, the last thing she says is, "Don't bring me back anything but a Lincoln." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And she says, "I don't drive anything but Lincolns." I said, "Ma'am, it's going to be 9:00 at night on a Saturday night in Springfield, Missouri. I'll do my best." Get on the road, make a phone call. Lady kind of blows me off, and I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm just telling you, this is not going to be good." So I get to Springfield, and the lady says, "You've got a choice of a Ford Fusion or an Impala." And I'm like, "Oh." So I'm like, "I'll take an Impala." It seems a little bigger to me. So I pick the car up, deliver it back to Granby. Nice little old lady comes to the door, not the one the car belongs to, and I give her the keys. She's very pleasant, and I leave. And I'm like, "Oh, thank you, Jesus, for getting me out of this." I get about 15 minutes away. The lady calls me. She says, "I don't drive Impalas." I said, Excuse me?" She says, "I don't drive Impalas. Come pick it up." I said, "Ma'am," I said, I'm sorry, but this is all I could get in Springfield. I mean, we're in Springfield, Missouri at 9:00 on a Saturday night. "I don't care. I don't drive Impalas." And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you'll have to take that up with Budget, I believe was the rental car company. And so I'm a little frustrated by it, let it go. Next day at 12 o'clock, lunchtime, working an accident in Billings, phone rings. Can you pick up a Lincoln in Bentonville, Arkansas at the airport and take to Granby and pick an Impala up and take to Springfield? And
I know that lady.
I'm like, oh my. I said, yeah, but if it's not a Lincoln, this is not going to work. So they paid me to go to Bentonville, pick a Lincoln up, take to Granby, drop, pick the other one up, and back to Springfield for an expired license plate.
Wow.
You just never know what you're going to get.
Quite the stories that you.
Now, often when you're towing cars, though, aren't you also you are having conversations with people because you put them in your truck with you?
Yes.
Do you ever have any crazy conversations where you're like, I wish that person wasn't sitting in my cab with me? I mean, have you ever had conversations, or I mean, really cool conversations?
Both ways. We'll start with the bad ones. It's usually not the conversation, it's the smell. I've had people in 30-degree weather that I've had to roll the window down because I couldn't hardly stand to stay in the cab with them. That's a challenge. On the other hand, I was frustrated one day. I went out south of Aurora to pick a lady up. We had stalled and not got her picked up for about an hour, and I get out there and I'm kind of frustrated. And she asked, and I explained to her, I've got cancer and all these things going on. And she says, can I pray with you? That lady remembers me, and she works at the Walmart pharmacy. And when my wife goes in to pick up my prescription, she asks how I am and says she prays for me every day.
That is powerful. You know, that's so
You don't
neat.
get that everywhere.
No, especially when you're the one usually serving people. For in that moment, for somebody to minister to you in such a powerful way.
I was apologizing to her because it took us so long to get there, and explaining some of the things that are going on in our world. And yes, but very humbling.
You know, such an encouragement for anybody that's out there listening to think, you know, you can be helping somebody else when actually they're helping you, but you can turn it around and be a blessing to someone else like that person was. So let's talk about why a towing company is so critical in a town like Marionville.
Well, we have 6 tow trucks, and we keep usually 1 to 2 drivers on the road all the time.
Wow.
And it's from stranded vehicles to hitting deer to accidents to just a simple breakdown. And when you're stranded on the side of the road, you're extremely glad for one of us to show up and help you, even if it's just a flat tire. If you can't get your spare tire out or off, that's usually
if your car has a spare tire.
And that is
and you know where it is.
They sell cars without spare tires today.
Yes, they do. We tow a lot of cars for flat tires because they do not have a spare. So yeah, that is a very common occurrence for us.
All right. So Joe Walker, you've been facing some pretty, what more than towing? What do you mean? Go ahead.
Well, I know you guys do a little bit more than towing.
We do have a repair shop. Yes, we've got an auto repair shop, and we fix tires, batteries, brakes. We do a lot of light maintenance as well. So yes.
You know, I came into your place to get my inspection for my vehicle when we moved to town. And it was one of those delightful experiences because
your dad was there.
Dad was there. And I guess I didn't know that at the time that it was your dad, but he comes up to my window and he goes, ma'am, we have a problem. And I'm like, oh no, what's the problem? I mean, my van's not that old and whatever. And he goes, you're moving to Missouri from Florida? And I thought, I've been welcomed.
Yes, my 8-year-old dad is very entertaining.
That just made me laugh, and it made my day. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, yes, I get that a lot. And here's an example of a real life situation. So it was a great experience for me, and I love that. So now I know, Jim, you wanted to talk a little more serious for a moment.
Joe, you've been facing some pretty tough health issues over the last several years. Tell us about the good that's coming out of that.
As I usually finish my speech, God, Amy, and Mayo keep me alive. And we've had some very unusual things that have happened that there's no other explanation to. You know, we got involved with the #1 prostate cancer doctor in the nation by accident or by God. I prefer to think by God. And, you know, some things that we were very concerned about the prostate cancer to begin with. Dr. Kwan's done exactly what he said, and the prostate cancer is great. The kidney cancer, and then appendix or bladder cancer, excuse me, I don't have kidney cancer, a bladder cancer, and then appendix cancer. And Springfield didn't give me a lot of hope, but again, my wife and God got me to Mayo, and Mayo's done a pretty good job. And we went in for surgery to remove my left kidney because we had cancer in it, and they realized we had the appendix was eat up with appendix cancer. I'd never heard of it. 1 to 2 people per million. That's how rare it is. And thank God I was at Mayo, because Dr. Petrotsky lined up a whole nother 2 more surgical teams, and instead of doing 5 hours, we did 10 hours of surgery.
Why not?
And took it
As long
all
as
out at
you're
one
there.
time. You don't do that around here. And Mayo's done a very good job of keeping me alive. I get a little low sometimes, but they have. And we, thank God today, we were supposed to drive to Mayo Monday for an appointment to figure out my bladder cancers come back on my liver and peritoneum wall. And the doctor asked if we could do a video conference. And I'm like, sure we can. I'd be happy to stay at home and do this and not have to drive 9 hours up, stay in a hotel room, drive 9 hours back. So we can do this in about 15 minutes, kind of like a podcast. And he can direct us whatever we need to do to start treatment or whatever, but we don't have to make that initial 18-hour trip to accomplish that. And
So needless to say, you're giving the Mayo Clinic a high endorsement, but also
I give him number 3. I give him the number 3 slot.
So is it
God,
and then
Amy,
Amy, and then Mayo?
Amen.
That's awesome.
Yep.
In the right priorities there.
All right. Well, last question, Joe. Why do you love Marionville?
I'm a hound dog. I graduated from Aurora.
Ooh.
I've lived.
Sorry, this podcast is just being cut up. Oh,
I've been here, lived in Marionville or close to it since I got out of the Navy in '87. My family has been here since '85. I think they moved over here. My parents opened the convenience store in '83. So we like Marionville. It's a small town. I mean, I've lived in Virginia Beach. I've been pretty much, the Navy took me all over the world, and I always come back. And I've lived in Southern Illinois for a while. I've lived in Washington. I've lived in Virginia Beach, Florida. I've been all over, but there's nothing like a small town. You know a lot of people. If you can't believe the number of people. I got a text from a guy last night. Anything I can do for you? He has no idea what I was facing up till last night, but just a random text. People I know call me. Can I help you?
True care and concern.
That's right. We're praying. If you got any extra prayer time as you listen to this podcast, pray for Joe Walker and healing from his 4 different types of cancer. He's an overachiever. Tries to get as many. He's trying to see if he can get the world's record for the most types of cancer in a body and still survive.
Oh my goodness.
So far, he's pretty close. Joe Walker from Hillbilly Towing. Thanks so much for being right here on the Good Place Marionville podcast, and for just being a friend, and also you're part of the Lions Club too.
Yes, I am.
Come on,
and Marionville Business Connect.
Yes.
So
when I can make it to those, if I'm not gone somewhere on something, I try to make it to both of them.
You're not trekking off to Mayo somewhere.
And we'd love to have you all join us at the Lions Club, 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month. Men and women are welcome, and we are the only civic organization right here in Marionville. We'd love to have you join. We could use more bodies. We're raising money to help people with eye care. Joe, we're not going to say goodbye to you yet, but we're going to move on to a couple other things. I want to make sure, I don't know how much you pay attention to the city workers in this town, but Chris Bowling is not only the fire department chief, but he's also public works manager, and he rarely gets any time off, but he finally got a week of vacation. He went and basked in the beautiful sun of Florida, and he's back here grading roads in the cemetery for all of us this weekend so we can honor our veterans and our loved ones. If you see Chris Bowling, make sure you thank him for all the hard work he does.
I'm not sure how restful it was, though, because we had like a potential tornado while he was gone.
Tornado, but it just didn't get to
all these
Marionville.
different things. And so I'm sure he was always concerned about his great city. So, Jim, you were making the comment that Highway 60 is so quiet.
Oh, it's so
the new blacktop in the places where it's been done is great, but they're still working out there. So like we said earlier with Joe, keep your eyes alert and your driving aware and watch out for workers and just stay safe.
Be careful on those new lanes. Last night I was coming home from Republic, and we know where the 3 lanes is, but somebody was heading from Billings to Marionville. They were in the wrong side of those 3 lanes. I'm like, oh, this is potential customers everywhere right here. But
potential customers that he doesn't really want.
Be careful out there.
That's a good point.
We once saw a billboard in, I think it was Mississippi or Louisiana. It said this: think you can text and drive? Bless your heart. You know what that means? In Southern talk, that's you're an idiot if you're texting and driving. Please don't text and drive.
Pay attention.
Pay attention, because you can be a blessing to all those people working on the road.
There's a reason I have 6 tow trucks.
That's true. All right. Now we have a sponsor. Our sponsor for this podcast is the Bank of Billings. They have a ton of stuff going on right now. So we want to make sure and let you know, first of all, the Marionville location is going to be closed May 31st and June 1st for the move to the new facility. So the things are getting
They're going to carry
exciting.
one box at a time across the street. It's going to take forever.
No, but it's getting exciting. But these are times to pay attention to what is happening there. But the Billings location is going to continue to be open. They can handle your business. They're prepared for you. Take a little trip to Billings and take care of your banking there if you need to. And then the new facility is going to open up on June 3rd with regular business hours. And they also wanted to remind you, if you need to get valuables out of your safety deposit box, you need to do that prior to May 31st. So it's a busy time right now. And just remember,
all your gold bars are in your safe deposit box and you need to access them that weekend when they're moving.
Maybe they needed to donate them somewhere.
Yeah, if you're looking for a ministry to donate them to, we've got several suggestions. But just, you've got access till the 30th and then after the 3rd.
So we're grateful to the Bank of Billings, and they are member FDIC equal housing lender, and they are a sponsor of the Good Place Marionville podcast.
We're excited to have them along. Got to meet Mark, the bank president, yesterday at the Lions Club meeting. That was nice. Had never met him before. Martha, random news. Our good friend Doris Rapp.
Yes, not so random news is that Doris Rapp and her team have been very diligently working on the cemetery, preparing it specifically now for Memorial Day weekend. So tomorrow, Friday, May 24th, 9 a.m., feel free to join them as they will be putting flags out for the Memorial Day weekend. We're so grateful for them. You know, the behind the scenes work they've done has been wonderful for restoring and renewing things. And I thought this was a fun random fact to share. And they were sharing this on their Facebook page, wondering if you've ever wondered who the oldest known veteran that is buried at the Marionville IOOF cemetery. It is James Gamble. And I won't give all the details, but he was born in Tennessee in 1797. And it is just amazing that they've discovered that is the longest, the oldest burial there for a military.
Why'd say this stuff? He's one of our town's early settlers. He moved to Marionville in 1843. And this year we mark our 150-year anniversary.
170.
Why does it say this? We mark 150 of his passing. Oh, his
170.
Passing. But 170 years for our city?
Yes.
170 years.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
It is amazing. All right. Okay. So, but if you want to help put flags out tomorrow, they could use your help for sure. Absolutely. Applefest, Martha.
Yeah. Applefest fundraiser at Alice and Irene's. It's
Alice and Irene's?
Alice Irene's. May 24th, which again is tomorrow night. You can call them at 417-258-2288 to get your reservation. It's a barbecue buffet. And some of the things Brad said is going to be on the menu is some smoked pork with Asian sauce, ribs, barbecue chicken, and fried chicken, and fish. And as you know, there's always amazing sides and amazing desserts to go along with the buffet. So get your reservations in, take your family, and support the Applefest Carnival because that is where the proceeds will be going.
And if you're at Alice Irene's, make sure you try the tater tots. They're phenomenal. You can call, make a reservation for barbecue night tomorrow night on the 24th, 417-258-2288, 417-258-2288. And for those of you listening to the Good Place Marionville podcast outside of town, if you don't have an Alice Irene's, you're just not living.
Chicken strips are awesome.
I like
go on and on. We got the dinner rolls,
Swiss burger with
roll.
tater tots.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
That's it, Jim.
That's it. That's all we have for today.
Covered a lot of news. Good news for
Joel
today.
Walker's our famous guest for today from Marionville. If you haven't known him before, now you do know him, and you know why Hillbillies is so important. Joe, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
His podcast is a great platform for you to highlight your local business and show your support for the good happening in Marionville. Please consider becoming a sponsor and being part of today's show. GoodPlaceMarionville@hotmail.com, GoodPlaceMarionville@hotmail.com. There are many different levels to choose from.
And remember, we need your help. It's going to take a small army of reporters to keep up with the stories of the good that is happening here in Marionville. So please let us know if you want to contribute on a regular basis or you just see some good news and want to share it. You can email goodplacemarionville@hotmail.com or call the number on the side of Central Place, which is 417-677-8167.
Thanks for joining us for the Good Place Marionville podcast. Keep your eyes out for the good, and together we can celebrate Marionville. Happy Memorial Day.